Right now we're at live. We're gonna incorporate elements of being virtual next year, hopefully. So here's everyone. Videographer Brian. Okay.
Oh, good. They all get to,
Everybody say hi.
do this more.
Tiffany Fox.
Okay,
Dan,
so
David,
the way that we're
Monica. You.
where is it? All right, so I'm gonna have you reverse this just a little bit, right? I'll repeat it, and because we've got some new folks, what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up in the order in which you're gonna walk onto the stage. So first is David, second is Tiffany, third is Dan, and then Fox, and then Dan Starr last.
Too many Dans.
I know, 3 Dans and 1 Pam. This is a little bit much. So I'll have you line up in that order. I'll walk you out there in a moment. I'll hand you over to Steph. Steph will hand each of you a microphone, except for the 2 of you. The 2 of you will take yours from Raul and Ashley. They're practiced now. They'll just automatically hand it to the 2 of you. This is mainly so that we know they're going to do I believe they're doing these fun facts about you. Mm-hmm. So they're going to read a little thing, no name. So they'll read your little thing, say no name. They'll read your little thing, say no name. They'll read your little thing, say no name. And then they'll say, please welcome to the stage, name, 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 name. And then you'll all go together. She will be holding your elbow. Steph will be holding your elbow. You don't go on stage till she sends you. The microphones are like this. Oh, you've gone over this? Got it. That audience, especially once you get the audience interaction going, as you can see, they chat a lot. So like you might have to move it closer and get louder to so that they hear you instead of each other.
And this one we're not ending early, so feel free to take your time.
Yeah.
I think we can do more than 2 minutes each on the questions, and then interject viewer questions. You guys too, put questions here. We'll get the online ones also.
Any other? You'll sit. You two will sit on the
rained out, flight canceled. I'm so sorry.
On the couch by yourself.
Yes, next year
And
we're
they're
trying
on
to
the
do
white chairs.
virtual.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
Someone got
You're
rained
gonna share
out.
the longer couch, so.
Oh man, sorry about that, Melanie.
Look at Fox's jacket.
Yeah, look at that.
Fox's jacket. Like, I'm jealous, man.
Yeah.
What size are you, Fox?
Extra large, man.
All right. That's a good one, man. Fox repping the alma mater. We're gonna go.
Yep.
Fox, you feeling good about this one, man?
Good.
These are like
Good.
master networkers here.
It was a good day, man.
Tiffany, Dan Otap, David. I mean, even the videographer is a master networker. Like, you should be on this panel too, Brian. So this is gonna be good. And then we want your guys' participation. Melanie, if you have a question, let us know. I'm gonna try my best to make you feel like you're here. Hopefully the audio works well. It is loud in there. Everyone want to say something?
Hey, welcome. Thanks everyone for your support. Hope you like it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're gonna end it with a bang.
Yes, it's call to action for the after party.
Yeah, right.
Forgot to mention that. Very important. Are we gonna have homework for the people? I think the actionable stuff is like the homework. No?
Yeah, let's give them homework.
They have to network to 10 new people.
Yep.
10.
There you go.
Ooh,
Dang.
dang.
Tiffany's raising the bar.
You ain't
man.
never going home. I like it. All right, cool. Yes, flight canceled. So sorry, Melanie. Jeslyn. Oh, Jeslyn says hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany.
And Dan says she's talking to every Dan. Just
Oh,
David
well,
left
well,
out, man.
yeah.
Come on. You gotta say hi to David. LinkedIn user, who feeling the vibe. What do you guys think of the vibe here? Like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's awesome.
The energy.
Good.
It's all
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone told you, but the pre-party had the line going around the block.
yeah,
It was
I
around
saw.
the block.
I was trying to park my big truck, so
Oh,
I missed
man.
the line, but I got late. I got
Yeah.
there late.
There was a lot of energy, a lot of positive. People saying this is so good. I can't believe you did this in a year.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Amazing.
saying that.
You guys did it.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I know it's a cliche, but I'm actually humbled on this one because I was expecting 100 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's triple, maybe quadruple.
I don't know what the head count was, but it's up. There's a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
The beginning, every seat was taken. There was standing room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
This one might be too, although maybe people go early to the bar.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mic
This
up.
will be a lively one. You guys are all great communicators. So I'll just stay out of the way and just interject. Maybe I'll start it out with like a story or something, and then let's let it rip. Jeslyn says, "Hi, David." Here you go.
Have you met Jocelyn in person, by the way?
Yes.
She's like 6 foot.
She
tall.
came to our original meetup in Irvine where we had like 80 people.
Really?
That's when
Okay.
I was like, I think we can do like an official one at some
Yeah.
point. But yeah, Jeslyn came to that one in Irvine, 2019, right before COVID. I remember, and she's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she ran track.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm.
I can see that.
Man,
So now we just like sit here.
I know. Does anyone? So, what do you do for stage fright? That's something.
I had stage fright. This is what I do. In the past, if whiskey helps. In the past, like years ago, I would let the nervousness take over. And I realized recently, like 3 years ago, that's not going away, but you channel it to energy.
Mhm.
So like I go extra like pumped, extra animated.
Yep.
It tends to help because it's just energy. It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Just gotta distribute it.
Those nerves aren't going anywhere. They're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
So whiskey.
Whiskey.
What did you say, Jeff?
Whiskey and channel.
Caffeine's actually bad for that, too.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Calm music sometimes.
Caffeine's bad for this.
Yeah. Unless you have to time the caffeine, or else you'll crash.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta time it.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Have we been before?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. All right. So line up in the whatever order I told you a minute ago.
Okay, you guys, get the questions ready. Get the questions ready.
Sorry. Oh no, that was what Steph told us. No labels, no brand names.
Unless it's SOS.
Yep. Or Arizona.
Or Arizona.
And then they're going to introduce you. Just be aware that you'll be processed.
So now we're live. We've got 11. There's more than that. But this is actually a good turnout. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Lavender oil, deep breathing, magnesium. I like
All
this.
right, so as you take your seat on your chair, you will find feedback forms. When you have filled it out, you can leave them at your seat at the conclusion of the session. You have someone has spoken with you throughout the day and asked you what your feedback is, what your feedback is. Please be honest. We want to hear the good. But especially the bad. We want to know how we can make this better. So please be as honest as possible, and if there's any negative feedback, and it's something that you think would be awesome to include, please let us know. We want to make it happen.
Is that Chris? Man, Chris had the easiest panel job I've ever
Oh.
seen in my life.
They were dressed like judges.
Yeah, but he was like quiet till the last minute. So you're just like kind of.
I'm the moderator. I'm like the
Are you
time.
gonna talk just like
Yeah,
that?
I'll put the hands. Yeah. You drive the show.
Yeah. I'm just gonna watch the time. So like 10 minutes, then we'll start wants and needs. And did I give you wants and needs?
No, I don't have one.
Then I won't have them, but it's okay. I don't
That's
know.
good. So, Guru Nation, what are your wants and needs? What do you have to offer? And what do you need?
That's right.
Put
Put
in the
them in the
comments.
comments what you want and what you need. What you want as far as what you're looking for and what you need.
Let's see what we can do.
We'll pull it up on the stage just like we did. Lavender oil, deep slow breathing, magnesium.
Hey, you know what? What do you have to give?
Sorry for not being there anymore. It's okay. You're here virtually.
We got you.
Last panel of the day, and then it's the after party.
Yep.
last phone call, okay?
Alright, so we hope you had a chance to meet our regional connection during lunchtime, during the back sessions, and also, sponsors group, which we want to thank our sponsors.
Cue the sponsors. It's a part of things today, guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna get a little bit tired. All right, well, let us know what the sponsors are. We'll get to that slide too.
Alright, but we have to thank all the sponsors, and then go back with the meeting sponsor. Oh, very good. Very good.
Is that it?
Okay. You don't have to hashtag this, right?
No, hashtag.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna mention our sponsors, so one in Hill. MRN, Eaton Pro, in Scout Clinical. So thank you to all the sponsors who be with us in this first conference, and you for the trust, and thank you for supporting our sites.
Yeah, thank you. We need it right now. All right, you guys.
Wants and needs. We want your wants and needs. So that when we get on stage, we can get people to help. Dr. Fox, Dan Tab, Tiffany, and David.
This is why SOS was created. So let's go ahead and for our final panel, we're going to focus on the history of relationships.
Good thing I charged my laptop.
So,
Yep.
to turn that inside of foreign
It's a fun
relationship
hour.
in the center, we would like to welcome our final and distinguished panelists. Our first panelist, a founder and a president of our research institute. Our second panelist, director of operations for Clean Essentials. And we find out that she loved to travel. And just recently, she visited 13 countries in 7 weeks. I would like to have those stats.
It's pretty good. 13 countries in 7 weeks.
It's a lot of travel.
Please welcome to stage our panelists. David Lahani, Tiffany Ashton, and Dan Walker. And from our SOS organizing team, Gladys Burr and Dr. Daniel Fox.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Last panel of the day before the after party. So I'm doing live stream because we weren't able to do virtual component this year, but next year there's a chance. Hey, everybody. So we're going to talk about industry relationships. The people on the stage are experts at developing relationships. I kind of stumbled upon this on accident. I started a YouTube channel to get patients for my site. Never worked. I never actually intended to help sites as much as I could say it now with save our site, but it's kind of an accident. The patients were not watching. Who was watching were other sites, other researchers, and then I quickly learned 6 months into it that the ROI was positive, and now it makes no sense not to do it anymore. But when I started, people were like, "Oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? There's no ROI. You're going to get sued by Pfizer." I was really told that you're going to get sued by Pfizer. Why do you do this? And there comes an inflection point where the ROI makes no sense, and then it just flips and it makes all the sense. And I guess that's the first question for the panelists. At what point did you realize that the ROI makes sense for investing in industry relationships? Because when it's done right, it's not easy. It's a lot of work.
Okay, so I would say for me, I actually wasn't even on LinkedIn and I was very hesitant up to 3 years ago. And when I got on LinkedIn and I started to connect with people and really share my experiences, I got a lot of positivity and engagement, and found that a lot of people were looking and seeking that information. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I started as a CRC, and over the years I went to the CRA role and the CTM role, both as sponsors and CROs. So a lot of people starting at the site level, they were curious on how I made my journey. And then as well as people trying to get into the industry, wanting to know where to get in, et cetera. And so, I just kept going on LinkedIn. And then I think it led to a podcast with Brad for No to Bob. And then I got on Dan's.
Shout out to Brad.
Yeah, shout out to Brad. And so it just kept evolving from there. And 3 years later, my network is over 14,000 people. And that's just all over the world. And that's a testament to just getting on there and being real and honest on your journey and engaging and having real conversations and being willing to help others that are coming up behind you as well.
I think the hard part though is to not just get started, because at the beginning it makes zero sense to do it, and then it makes zero sense not to do it at some point. And it's hard to articulate when that inflection occurs. But for you, like first of all, what got you motivated to do it, and what kept you going?
Yeah, I think what got me motivated was people were like, "You're not on LinkedIn?" And I was like, "No, I never really had the reason to be on it, because I came in 2003, and LinkedIn wasn't a thing then, and I just kept in my own little lane. And when I was speaking with different people, they said, "You really, really got to get on there." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And I saw the power of it once I got on there very quickly. And that's what just gives me the drive to keep going, because I really like it.
What about Dave?
So for me as a site owner, the first time in this industry that it really stood out to me, the ROI and relationships, was a couple years back when a colleague of mine, he actually integrated back-end patient recruitment into a COVID-19 testing center for recruitment for COVID-19 therapeutic drugs. So as you could imagine, we absolutely annihilated our quotas, and we enrolled like crazy, and we had a number of sponsors that were extraordinarily pleased with us. And that trust that we built and established with them was sufficient that they felt that if we could do well in one area, we could do well in every area. And they came to us with oncology studies and neurology studies and all of these things that we didn't know anything about. And so that's where the ROI became very clear, that as somebody who is interested in keeping business, keeping my staff working and busy and keeping money flowing into the organization, it just became clear to me that knowing the right people, having that trust established, is going to make a significant difference and is going to have some substantial ROI.
And we have a wants and needs board, which we're going to get into later, but there's different wants and needs amongst different people, right? It's networking for the sake of networking, or creating potential opportunities that you didn't see that existed, or in your case as a side owner, it's more practical, maybe like new studies, which is a huge topic. And you, David, do a lot of this offline too. You're really good at networking offline. What do you think, and we're going to get into the actionable stuff later, but what do you think has been the secret to your success there? Like you started your site, and relatively quickly you were able to get a whole bunch of studies. Was it really just because of those first few studies where you enrolled a whole bunch of patients?
That's a good question. I think the number one item that I would point out is having a solid routine that's centered around networking. For instance, everybody here that has made a trip to Tucson, maybe some of you are local, but it's because you all prioritize this. You want to network, you want to meet other people and help solve their problems and help them solve your problems as well. So as long as you take that type of mentality and you prioritize it, I think you'll regularly build up a customer basket and a network that's going to be profitable for you.
And somebody I have the pleasure of getting to know very recently because of this conference and the panel preps.
Yeah.
You have a very pure way of going about networking.
Yeah, I do. For me, the moment in my career when I realized there was an ROI on this whole concept of industry relations with the site, with the sponsor, CRO, etc., is actually in 2015. It's a very, very clear moment in my career. I took a position as an associate director of regulatory affairs at Columbia, and we had recruited a host of new investigators in oncology and 2 early phase 1 solid tumor specialists. These are trials that you need to activate, most likely if you want to be a dose escalation site, below 45 days, from regulatory packet to SIV. I also feel like Ricky Bobby and Halliday Management. I don't know how to hold this. So sorry for that. Or should I find if you guys ever seen this amount? So I found out really quickly that relationships make the world go round in research more than I ever realized. Because when I took over that role and I started to get a lot more involvement in industry-sponsored trials, I realized just how complex what we do on a daily basis is. And if it's not done in a way that is mutually collaborative and beneficial, there are roadblocks. Studies get orphaned. I mean, I remember a discussion literally right before an SIV, a contract and an indemnification could not get finalized, and 3 months of work went out the window. So 2015 was the moment that I realized that if you want to do this and you want to do it correct as a site, if you want to do it correct as a CRO, a vendor, and especially a sponsor, it starts and ends with figuring out how to do this in a mutually beneficial, a professional, and collaborative manner. It was a rainy day in New York City in 2015.
And now you're on the sponsor side. Your role is exactly building relationships with sites, which is like the inverse of what we're used to. Usually sites try to build relationships with the sponsors and CROs.
That's a good point. And you and I actually just recently had the pleasure of talking about this, where you said, hey, did you go into your career thinking that relationships matter? And I said, well, in general, yes, we're human. But the role that I now have, I went after because I knew how important this was. And now I have the opportunity on the side of the sponsor, one, to carry forth kind of the site knowledge that we've all built over the course of our careers. But really, it's kind of a dream role. It's hard as heck to do because you can't please everybody. If you try to please everybody, what happens? You don't please everybody. So it's difficult, but it definitely is a role that I now hold, which is relatively unique, I would think, that is dedicated to site relationships, alliance management, overall figuring out how to streamline processes so everyone involved, top down, is benefiting from that.
And Dr. Fox, somebody who came on the radar relatively recently with the podcast, very well produced podcast, I must say, you realized this ROI at some point. Was it early on in your career or was it later?
No, I was that very clever PhD that fused network, influencers for a bunch of 12-year-olds. We don't need to do social media. I was a network. Finally started networking and got CRP Central, all these things. I'm not going to talk myself, but you asked what ROI, when I realized ROI. And it took me a long time to think about that, but realistically for me, I realized ROI when people who believed in me started recommending me to other people. They're willing to put their names on the line for me. And I think that's where you get the ROI. It's not necessarily a relationship. So if you're going to have an amazing professional relationship with that person that you have a connection with. But when that person goes out and says, hey, you need to go talk to Dr. Fox. Hey, you need to go talk to Dr. Fox. And then that one person that you had a really good positive relationship with just connected you with 15 other people. And then those 15 other people do that. It's just this viral, you need to talk to Dr. Fox. I believe in him. I believe in what he does. I've heard that many times today. And so I guess for me, that's the realization of ROI, is when ROI becomes like viral.
Yeah, I think there's, like, I've been thinking about this in my own career, actually. Initially there's like accidental networking, where you kind of stumble into, hey, I did this, and then this good thing happened. And then you make it a point to try to be intentional about it. For me, it happened in my videos, accidentally. For you guys, I'm sure you have similar stories. So now we're going to shift into the actionable stuff, because you are some of the best networkers that I know personally. And what can people do in the audience? And by the way, if you have questions here physically or on the live stream, raise your hand. We can have mic runners for Q&A. Maybe we can get very practical with some of the things we can do. But let's hear from the panelists. Maybe Tiffany first.
Yeah. Okay, so I know a lot of questions that I get is how can I become a CRA? I'm currently a CRC. And one of the things that is so powerful in that is you have to network with the CRAs that come to your site to monitor. 100%. That's how I got my first grade. I was a CRC and I was very responsive to my CRA, engaged with making sure that my source documents were corrected, very, teachable. I didn't take any mistakes as a problem. I absorbed it. I learned from her. And then when they had an opportunity within her company to take on entry-level CRAs, she was recommended me. And so that is something when you build relationships with your CRAs, that's an avenue in. Now, I won't work with all CRAs, but some CRAs, you guys know the CRAs that you guys have the relationships on. All the studies that you do over the years, I mean, that if you consistently do that, you're going to have at least 5 to 10 CRAs that you can pull from when you're ready to advance in your career. And the same would go, so if you're trying to CRC to CRA, but also establishing those relationships, even the PIs with the CRAs, because sometimes those CRAs go on to be CTMs like myself. And so I think back to the sites that were the best, the PIs that were most engaged. And so you never know where your connections are going to end up in your career. And so you want to establish those genuine connections, because you may reach out or reconnect 10 or 17 years later, or somewhere like, wow, now you're the VP of a pharmaceutical company and I need to study, this is something that is, I would recommend with those personnel you have access to. So if you're at the site level, reach out and make those connections with your CRAs. And also the CTMs. We talked about it earlier about if you're having budget negotiation questions and bottlenecks, reaching out to those clinical trial managers who are the bosses of the CRAs. Those two, they move from different companies. And I don't know how many times we get to the beginning of a study and they say, we need 50 sites. And me as a CTM, they said, AI is, and I go through the list that I have of the sites that I've worked with, but that's not, it won't work for all indications. So it's another opportunity for you to get potential studies, stay in connection with them, show that you do good work, and it can take you a long way.
We'll take more studies that you can control, please. So now that just doing your job the right way is a lot of it, but I'm awesome.
Yeah, doing it and not causing a headache. Not one of the people just like on the back, just no one person them, just doing.
What about you, Dave? Actionable stuff, not just to get studies for your site, but maybe that you can also just networking in general.
Yeah, so I have to piggyback a little bit off of what you were saying there, Tiffany. So, networking with every CRA or monitor or CTM that you come into contact with, like that's an immediate way to go from like 0 to 60 in terms of your, in terms of your overall effort. If you have some way to keep those in order, like for instance, there are software programs called CRMs, client record management tools that those work extremely well if you know how to use them. And so just keep a log, keep it as your Rolodex. LinkedIn is a kind of a low energy way to do this, but what the CRM does is it gives you the ability to put like birthdays and other important pieces of information. That way you can regularly refresh that. So I know there's people that I've worked with before years ago that I'll regularly check in on every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Some regular period of time to just have a conversation like, hey, what's going on? I saw you have a recent career change. I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. And then also importantly about conversations like that, you want to make sure it's about them and not about who we're looking for getting a new political trouble, right?
That's the hardest part.
That is hard, right? But if you do it regularly, you're not in a position where you're desperate. And so when you have those options, you don't feel that need. That's my 2 cents anyway, but I wasn't planning on going into that. I'll be short with the rest of this. It is important, in my opinion, to prioritize networking. So I personally, this is just what works for me. I have a specific day of the week that I time block these 6 hours a day specifically to take networking calls. So if I have somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn, if I have, if I meet somebody at a conference, like I'll say, okay, Friday, I'm going to time block 6 hours to take Zoom calls, phone calls, email setup, calls for the next Friday, so on and so forth. But I think it's so important to me that I take a specific day of the week and just say, this is my networking day.
So if you want to get a hold of Dave, Friday or if you're looking for a CRC job in Detroit or Texas, Friday. What about you, Dan? Actionable things people can take home. We're going to give homework, and then we're going to ask questions from the audience.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit, not necessarily talk about networking, but I want to talk about a little bit of actionable item for if you are a site and you're trying to communicate to sponsors where you're saying, oh, I need more trials, So I'm going to take you on a journey of my mind, which is a bit scary. But it's a 3-pronged approach. Know thyself, brand thyself, and don't be the anti-hero. Ready? Know thyself, Oracle of Delphi. Anybody who's kind of a philosophical kind of guru, but Soren Kierkegaard is a philosopher, and he said that life is lived forwards, but is understood backwards. So what I am referring to is if you are working at a site, know what your strengths are, and even more so, know what your weaknesses or what your gaps are. Honestly, do the research on your own business or your own academic center, etc. See where you really stick out, right? And also where you need to put the wrench time in, resource time in, training and otherwise to close the gaps so that you prep yourself for any trial opportunity that comes your way. But even more so than any trial opportunity comes your way, know what you and your sites and your investigators with your PIs, know what it is that you are interested in and that you're strong at. You're really good at NASH, or you're very good at, a couple sites in the cancer center world are really good for UC or gastric or lung, etc. So know thyself and do your homework. And then when you're done that, brand yourself. There's a huge movement probably in the past 5 or so years, at least on the academic medical center side, where we kind of got tired of doing PSVs, and I kind of got tired of being asked if I had a -20 and a -80 freezer. I don't know about you, you may have never been asked that, but I kind of got old. And a really good mentor of mine who was recruited from another cancer center came in and he said, you guys are doing this all wrong. Flip the script. And we ended up creating kind of welcome packets. You know how all of us sponsors or CROs are like, we send you when you're selected for the site, it's like, congratulations, here you go. What's nice is we ended up having a response letter to that saying, thanks so much, this is what we need, but we're not touching your study. And also, if you don't reply to us within 5 days, you're on potential hold, and you're going to probably be deprioritized. Also, you need 2 business day time. Like, we went down the list, and we basically presented ourselves. We knew what our strengths were. We listed out specific SOPs that we anticipated, that we knew we were going to be asked about. And you basically created a welcome packet And just like we get those wonderful, wonderful welcome packs that are pushed out from some e-system where you have to log in or whatnot to download your protocol, your ID, your consent. All of that, we flipped it around. We provided information to our sponsors and our CROs to say, if you want to do business with us and you do want us to open in 30 days or less or 45 days or less, then here's what we need. Help us help you, right? The third one is something that I just recently started to experience. Not recently started to experience, but I had a story that was very recent. It's actually quite disheartening. The third one is don't be the anti-hero. We've heard a lot today about budgets, contracts, negotiations, lack thereof. I directed a expanded oncology network for Genentech. So I've traveled with selected sites, got 20 sites, 6 countries, fully focused. This whole alliance work was focused on early phase oncology. I'm now working on something with respiratory, so if anybody's interested in that, look me up on LinkedIn. Shameless plug. But an example of difficult times were a very high quality site. I'm also going to say something you guys are probably never going to hear, but the site was the most expensive, but it generally was actually the most expensive. This is one of the moments because I was always told we were the most expensive, and then when on the sponsor side, I'm like, guys, it's kind of a bad negotiating tactic. You should probably stop saying that because everybody is told that they're most expensive. So when you have conferences like this, everybody talks and they're like, wait a second, I was told that I was the highest in New York. They're like, no, I was. So it was a situation in which a site was having difficulty with basically FMV, which is, I know, a 4-letter word or acronym. And I ended up having to basically go through a mediation process. I had to bring in our FMV specialists from different countries to work with this site network. And we really wanted it to work because honestly, it had one of the most brilliant and beautiful spirited investigators I've ever worked with in my career. I wanted it to make it work, right? They were opening up their phase 1 oncology center. They had prior experience from other centers. It was an international physician, it was great. We couldn't execute budgets because they were 4 times different. And I'm saying this because I saw the numbers, so I'm not going to blow smoke. I hope you guys can probably pick up on that quickly for me. I'm not going to do that. I flew. I took time, and I had multiple WebEx calls, and then I finally said, you know what? If something doesn't change here, I don't know what to do. You're going to have to ultimately look at probably going out of this alliance. So I hop on a plane. I had to get that approved by my directors and my managers, and I took time out of my week. I flew simply to just be there face to face. I do, and many of us take relationships very seriously. I promise I'll finish in 20 seconds. In that meeting, there was a site PI, who's also a co-founder or founder, and he just did not seem like he really needed to be there. And he made a comment that I will never forget because he thought it was really, really funny. And he said, you know, like this budget thing, it's kind of weird. You're kind of like Taylor Swift. It's like you're saying, oh, we're the problem, but really you got to look at yourself and it's kind of like, I'm the problem, it's me. So don't be the anti-hero because you know what? When he told that to me and he jokingly said that, that's when it clicked in my mind. I direct that alliance. I flew out there. Everybody wants to say this, right? The sites always reach out to the sponsors. The sponsors don't have any time. That script was flipped. Maybe that's my phrase for the day. When he told that to me, and so quickly quoted that I was Taylor Swift, which is cool, right? Okay. I thought of Ariana Grande, because she has a song that says, thank you, next. They're no longer in the alliance. Never lose sight of the fact, the gentleman beautifully said this morning about we're all human, our patients are human. So are we. If people are giving you their time, they're giving you the most valuable commodity they have. So respect it. So know thyself, grab myself. Be Taylor Swift or don't be anybody.
And we're going to get to Fox right now, but another song, Sorry Not Sorry, sites can reach out to you and get studies. What days are good for you? We have Friday for David. What day is good for you?
On a leap year, Mondays.
Mondays, excellent. We got Mondays and Fridays.
I do have to interrupt though, your ability to use Kierkegaard and then Ariana Grande. Blows my mind.
Amazing. Thoughts, actionable strategies that you use that others can use.
First of all, what's that? I bought it song. What's that? Do you want? So, a little secret, because it's not a secret anymore, you guys might know it. I'm an introvert. I'm a big introvert. And it takes a lot of energy and a lot of overcoming of fear to approach strangers. And I think that's one of the first actions I would say is you have to know thyself, you have to break through that barrier, and you have to figure out a process so that you can talk to strangers and connect. That's the first important thing, and every one of you are going to have to do that different. The second one, and for any of you out there who have had an interview with me or a webinar, whatever it might be, the way that I close my webinar every single time is I look you straight in the eyes and I say, how may I help you? Why are we here? And what's my homework? I said, what's my homework? How can I help you? What's the actionable? How can we take this forward? Of course, you have to make that decision. When you say that, you are extending a relationship with someone. So you have to do that lightly. There's people you may not want to extend a relationship with. So break through that barrier. Do not be afraid to figure out how to approach strangers and create relationships. And most importantly, make it about them. You are giving them your attention. And frankly, when you do that, people love to be heard, which I think is why this whole room is built. And those are two.
Those are good. We got a question from YouTube, actually. And if anyone has a question, raise your hand. We'll have mic runners run around, but here's one. There's actually two here. This is a powerful panel, they said. This is Clinical Research Organized Women's Network, Crown. They said, this is a powerful panel. What initiative, innovations do you think will shape the future of clinical research? Let's just go in order, starting with Dan, ending with the other Dan.
I'll make mine super quick. I think, truth be told, technology, for all its necessary, sometimes drawbacks, is honestly the way of the future with this. A lot of our problems hopefully will be solved by that. The only kind of call to action that I would say in that, if there are vendors in this room with software solutions, tech solutions, make sure that you include end users, make sure that you have the coordinators or sites. Take that very, very seriously, because sometimes we have these great solutions for problems that aren't even problems, and we're actually adding problems. So, technology.
Thank you. Tiffany?
I'm going to say more conversations like this. I think there's a disconnect as we're seeing from the sponsors, CRO, and their side level, and we have to bridge the gap and see what each side is seeing. Because just even me now being at the CTM level, I can see how maybe those at the site level don't understand the sponsor or CRO side of things. And so planting that knowledge may also help with some of the requests or, frustrations that are seen. So I think more conversations like this is very important. And then just figuring out ways to streamline the process, because I think we could be doing this much more efficiently. A lot of it we may be stuck in our ways. A lot of it we may cannot see each other's side, and so we have to continue to have more conversations like this in order to move forward.
What about you, David? What initiative, innovations do you think will shape the future of clinical research? Apple VR startups?
So I wanted to say what Hannah said and everything we said, that's essentially my answer. I'm going to try to marry the two in the way that I think about it. Most of the challenges that sites have are a combination of lacking technology, or also, I should say that, things that technology can improve upon, and also things that being more proactive about developing relationships within the community could also solve those. So I do think that certain technology applications that lower the activation energy to get cooperation for cooperation of physicians that may have be able to give them access to patients. I think that's going to be significant, and I think putting the initiative into building those relationships will also be something that when you pair the two, it's going to be absolutely a powerhouse.
Thoughts?
I mean, innovation will only be as good as the voices that go into it. And I think that what you're gonna find is, in the future, the innovation in clinical research will be when we finally start to get equal levels of voices across the entire industry. That way we can have a full understanding of each other and therefore develop better innovation.
Second part of the question, how can professionals position themselves to be at the forefront of these developments?
Be a lifelong learner, be curious, read things that are not paywall, like stats sometimes has not paywall things, read books. There's a really good book on just general clinical research by some guy that I think I just met. And then also a really brilliant book, and I don't know if he's still here, but the Bubblegum Badge, you guys have heard of this, Patrick Stone.
That's a good one. Pat Stone, Bubblegum Badge.
But just, honestly, the biggest thing that I believe set me apart in my career is I was curious. And I just continue to read. I dedicate, this is going to sound like, oh, I dedicate time. I block out time, kind of like you block out networking. I block out about an hour to 2 hours a week just solely to look either on Google Scholar, Fierce Biotech, Stat, all these things, and just read so I'm aware of what the heck's going on. Do I know everything? Not even close. But I'm curious, and I think that's one thing that if you continue that in your life, that keep you on the forefront.
Thank you. What about you, Tiffany? How can you position yourself to be at the forefront of these developments?
I would say, one of the things would be just to keep going. Like, don't put any stops to yourself. A lot of people will say, well, I heard this, I think this, I don't think that I can do this. But if you really have something to say, and you really have a voice that you think you can impact change, to keep going with that and keep pushing it. And maybe two people over here don't want to hear it, but another person over there may. So, continuing to network, doing those, chats, getting on Dave's calendar. You could get on my calendar, get on Dan's calendar.
What day is good for you?
I was spread out over the whole week, but I have to start getting on one day.
I'll go to you.
I was gonna say Tuesdays, maybe. But yeah, just keep going, and not everyone is gonna be, not everyone's gonna be a friend, but you will find them out there, and if you're passionate about it, make sure that you get your point across, and then when you hear someone that is in the position, or even if it's a CRA, and you wanna take something back to the CTM, say, hey, can you share this to make this study better? It's bottlenecking here, I think it can be improved. We want to hear that. Like CTM, I want to hear what's not working, because ultimately patients can't get recruited. That's valuable information. If you're at the site level, you're telling me this compensation is not enough. We need to know that, otherwise the study is going to be bad. So it's very important to communicate that.
Dave, what about you? How do you position yourself to be at the forefront of these developments? Something actionable that people can take home.
For me, and what I sincerely think is that if you fancy yourself an expert at any one thing, you're probably not going to be an expert or at the forefront of everything. We're at a university campus, there absolutely are people who are experts at one thing here. But the most important thing for me is that I have to at least acknowledge that I am not, there's not one thing within all of the organization's work or something about this industry that I know the most about. So I just focus on networking with people who know far more than me and learning from them. And that's how I believe that I can stay on top of the stay at the forefront, just because I trust people that have demonstrated their competencies and capabilities, and I will.
Thank you. You each have wants and needs from the board that we pulled at random. Can you just go quickly read both or one that you have, and maybe that could be the actionable homework for people at the after party?
All right, so we pulled this from the wants and needs board. This says that this person needs sites that are willing to host open houses to industry partners. This is a huge request. Sites that say we don't have a voice, but there are people who are just begging for your voice. I get it, you can't like open up your doors every single day, you're never gonna see a patient again, but if you're interested in hosting someone who really wants to make this mission better, contact me. I've got a phone number here, if someone wants to understand you and hear your voice.
What did you get, Dave? Real quick.
So I have two people seeking CRC job opportunities in Dallas, Texas, and then in
Yes.
New York.
One for you. Let's hear it.
So actually, I don't have anything to do with Dallas or New York, but I do know some really phenomenal site directors and site owners in both of those locations. So if you're interested in both this, probably find me on LinkedIn and reach out. I'll be happy to do an introduction.
Thank you. What about you, Tiffany? What do you have real quick?
I need help with budgets and contracts. So if someone. So yeah, that is one. That's my.
Ben?
There's 30 seconds left. Looking for new studies.
That's you.
Yeah. That's
That's you on Monday.
It's called, right? So they did some home studies, right?
I did. And then I would say, and I was talking to a lovely couple of ladies last night at the happy hour. Connect with MSLs. If you don't know the MSLs for your different companies, there's a lot of opportunity there, and connect with them, and they can kind of help connect you to others. So.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you live stream and thank you physical crowd. We really appreciate it. We got something right now, so we finish exactly 0 seconds. Thank you, everybody. All right, thank you, live stream. Thank you.